Basically, I am a computer programmer, so I write computer programs for a bunch of different reasons, usually to make websites or apps. Because I'm a consultant, I am always going out to different companies to help them with whatever problem that they're having. So I don't work in-house somewhere just making one app or one website all the time. I'm constantly going out and doing new projects. The main thing I wanted to talk to them about was you don't have to just specialize in one thing and be good at one thing for all your life. You can incorporate lots of different elements into your job and your career and your life and your education as well. I am a computer programmer. That's my job. Sometimes computer programmers are also called software engineers or coders. I heard someone say the word hacker, which you can also use, but basically I write the instructions that build apps and websites and other things that you might use. This is the way, not so long ago, I think that many people had an education and had a career. So you'd be in school, you'd pick a subject, study it, get really good at it at uni, and then you'd specialize in that subject as your career, and you'd just do that one job for 40 years. And then you'd be retired and you'd go and live on a desert island. I don't know. The truth is we don't know what all your jobs are going to be because some of those technologies and some of those roles just don't exist yet. And I think there'll be a lot of uncertainty throughout the course of your life about what will the world look like in 10 years. So it's really good to keep that in mind, even now when you're at school, that not everything's set in stone. One thing that was kind of difficult for me at school was this idea that I had to pick a specialty or something that I was good at, and then I sort of you had to throw away everything else. You had to specialize in one thing. Now this was really difficult for me because I like a bunch of different things. I like computers, I like reading and history and art, I like painting and science, and at uni I even picked up another language because all those things weren't enough for me. I needed to learn a new thing as well. So people want to kind of put you in a box. So they might say, you know, you're a scientific person, or you're a sporty person, or just that you're not allowed to be good at, you know, art, science, and maths, and these other things. You're not allowed to combine all those things together. You have to pick what side of this divide that you're on. Are you an arty person or a scientific person? You can actually just do both of those things. You can enjoy everything on this spectrum. If you like stuff, you should give it a go and try and stick at it. And it might be a useful thing for your career, but it also might just be a fun hobby that you do for the rest of your life. The other thing that I want to push back on a little bit, and I hear it quite a lot, is this idea that programming, computer programming, is a very scientific pursuit. And it's, if we did divide things into those two categories, that writing computer programs would be kind of alongside physics and mathematics and things like that. So I kind of enjoy maths, and I'm not against maths, but I don't actually use maths every day at work. I actually use art a lot more than I use maths to do my job. And I also use a lot of other skills that I picked up along the way, like an ability to talk to people or to communicate an idea using some more abstract ideas, like more creative storytelling, to make something that would be a really boring technical talk into something that people can empathize with and it resonates with them. So basically what I want you to take away from this, sometimes it's better to start working than sit around planning something forever. Sometimes the best way to learn some stuff is to actually dig in and give it a go. The other thing is that your job and career might change a bunch in your life. So this is really the case for your career. I wouldn't advise you to sit down today and plan out what you're going to do for the rest of your life to really minute detail. Maybe you should have a big picture idea of what you want to do next, but it's absolutely fine to figure that out as you go along, especially if you keep trying new things and figuring out what it is that you really like. You can also do a bunch of different things, and I'd encourage you to do as many things as you can. If you have an option at university or even at school to pick up some subjects that are not related to your main thing that you're studying, please give it a go. So the last thing that I want to talk about, programming is not necessarily a scientific thing, even if you can incorporate scientific elements into it. If you're a sciencey person and you love science, you can incorporate that. If you're an arty person, you can incorporate art into it. If you like maths, you can pull that into it as well. I think it's a very open discipline. You can really do whatever you want. And you also have to use a bunch of different skills to, if you want to succeed at software engineering, you have to work with other people and practice your communication skills a lot. I love that I can incorporate lots of different things that I like doing into my job. So I'm quite a creative person, quite an arty person, and I feel that I can use art and creativity in my job every day. People always think of software engineering, computer programming as a really technical thing, and that it's very procedural and you wouldn't be able to inject creativity into that process. And I think that's so false, and I always try to work to counteract that viewpoint. I use creativity every day, and I use my visual design skills all the time. My job is quite technical in nature. So being a computer programmer, I write instructions that power a bunch of different things, usually websites and apps and stuff. And so these instructions are pretty procedural, and they have to follow certain rules in order for the program to run at all. But one of the things that I talked to the kids today about is that even though computer programming is under this STEM umbrella, I don't think it's necessarily a hardcore technical subject. I think it has almost more in common with learning a language than it does learning a scientific subject, although certainly you could bring science into it later on. So one of the big benefits, I think, about any kind of programming is that it's really easy to come into it at a later stage in life, and you don't necessarily need to have a 3-year degree from a university in order to make it your job. Definitely if you love it, then give it a go at that university level. But if you give it a try, maybe you go to a workshop or some kind of like hackathon or something, and you give programming a try, and you think, wow, I really enjoy this, and maybe there's something here. You can just pursue that in your spare time, maybe as a hobby, and build up some skills. And then there are plenty of companies that would take you on as a junior developer, even if you don't have a technical 3-year degree. If you have a problem-solving kind of mind and some understandings of the basics, you can actually learn a lot on the job, and there are plenty of people who will happily employ you even if you come from a non-traditional background.